Welcome, Sagittarius, to your Astrodice reading for June. Hope you friends are doing great out there. Welcome back, all subscribers, and anyone new, welcome, welcome. Okay, guys, let's see what's going on with you. For those of you who are new, this is where I take astrology with tarot and make a small horoscope for the month. I usually do this at the beginning of the month, before the beginning of the month reading, but I did say that in the beginning of the month reading, so, but let's just see what's going on over here with you, my friends. Okay. Next message, please, for the beautiful Sagittarius. Ooh, I got some, look at that, Aquarius energy coming out with some Saturn. That Saturn is moving in, my friends, and going straight into the 8th house. Oh, the 8th house coming out. Okay, so we have this Saturn coming in, which is, you know, a very forceful energy at this time anyways, because we're having that retrograde. So that's not that surprising, huh? This beautiful Capricorn Saturn, the part of you that accepts challenge to gain wisdom. Something hidden, something challenging you. I think it's definitely going to bring, there's something that's going to come up that's going to want to challenge you to understand what the heck is really going on. Okay, so going over here with Aquarius, then I'm going to get your thinking cap on. This energy is freedom-loving, rebellious, idealistic, and technological. And of course, it being an air sign means it's really going to want to push on your analytical thinking anytime we have those air signs coming in. So definitely catching your attention. But whatever this challenge in, it's definitely something that has to do with, it could be technology itself. Maybe you're learning something about technology. Or it's giving you a lot of freedom. We'll see what's going on. Could be a lot of different things going on too, but we're talking about in the 8th house. Remember, there are 12 houses. We're only talking about one house. This is the transformational area of your life that is about shared resources and intense emotions. Wow. So I do feel like whatever it is that's catching your attention over here to challenge you is really going to bring up these intense emotions. That's for sure. And whether it's, you know, the shared resources, you know, could be any kind of financial gains, you know, taxes, inheritances, obligations, controlled money, whether it's jointly or not, and assets. So definitely watching that area of your life at this time. Okay, let's see what's going on over here. At least learning something about these assets. I'm just going to leave it as assets because it could be so many different things since it's a generalized reading. You'll know what it is if it resonates. Remember, friends, if this doesn't resonate, please watch your rising moon or Venus. Okay, let's go. I'm going to straighten the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, and the end of the month. Start with the beginning of the month. It's talking about this new beginning. So this is definitely the part of you that accepts the challenge to gain some kind of wisdom is actually because there's something new that's going on within your life that you really have to think about, you know, when it comes to these resources, these gains and assets. Okay, so, but there is something that could be a little confusing about the situation when it comes to the Aquarius. That's where those intense emotions are really coming into play. Also about the situation and that analytical thinking, especially when you're talking about dark thoughts over here. We're talking about that mind and that air energy. So really needing to pay attention to the finer details. And that's where I think the challenge is really coming up in a lot of the ways. So you know you have this new beginning, but it's challenging me. So therefore it's getting me in my head. And I know I have to pay a lot of attention about this, but there could be confusion. You might feel like you're running through a labyrinth, literally. And that's a part of the challenge though, right? Trying to figure it out. Okay. And it says you're not going to feel very optimistic right now about the situation, my friends, because of these dark thoughts. So it's like, I know that there's something awesome that could be happening, but because it's such a challenge, I don't feel right now that it's kind of like one of those feelings when we're talking about this assets and stuff, where it's like, I know it could be the gravy train, but I feel like I'm kind of falling off of it, or I can't catch it. So I have to really think about it. And the more that I'm thinking and I'm trying to put all the pieces together for the challenge, it's not feeling very optimistic right now. So you could feel like your optimism is a little dropped at this time, not being able to take like center stage of the situation. So it feels like the stage is kind of off to the side as you're really trying to push through this labyrinth to get to it. And there could be a lot of freedom loving things that go on to this. It also reminds me of something that could be some kind of computer or something you guys are doing with technology. I kind of see it like I don't know, like a microchip or something. So it could be definitely something like that as well, to where it could be a lot of gains for you. And you could inherit a lot of good things. It's just that right now, like I said, it's just really kind of, I don't know, it's kind of spicy. It's kind of, and it might even feel like it's kind of putting a bitter, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of like it's the sweetest thing, but it's putting a bitter taste in my mouth. So it's almost like the fruit is not ripe yet. And you know this, but you really want this. So you do see the cycle change. You are feeling this situation. You know that there's a heightened time for the situation. It's just, how am I going to get there? Do you have enough collaborators to get to the situation as well? Are people on the, are they team players? Do you need a team player on the 8th house? Is your, if you're dealing with a lawyer to get your assets, from a, some kind of divorce or something, are they actually, do you feel like they're on your side, right? The great achievement in the middle of the month with the new supportive connections. Now that's very interesting, because I just said it felt like maybe you have somebody you don't feel is a team player, someone who's not supporting the situation. They're not helping out the situation enough for you to get to where you need to be. Now all of a sudden you have this new supportive connection, and you're having a great achievement towards the situation. So it does feel like now you're starting to actually, through the challenge, you're starting to actually see what you need to see, learn what you need to learn, and understand. Wow, I love that. So you're gaining the wisdom about the situation and honoring the path. Excuse me, my friends. That is beautiful, because that means you're actually doing it. So I do feel like, even though you're not very optimistic in the beginning of the month, you're still pushing hard. You're like, shit, I'll just walk through the maze, whatever, let's go. Because you do know that there is something really good about this situation. Okay, so let's get to the end of the month. The end of the month is saying, let's clarify the end of the month. There's an increase. Wow. So there's definitely an increase of the challenge, an increase of the wisdom, an increase of the gains, increase to the 8th house of the assets. You're starting to see it. So where there was a loss, it feels a little titter-tottery over here. And it does. It feels like there's a teeter-totter. So it's like I've gained enough over here, but I'm starting to lose a little on this side. So you might feel like that there is some kind of loss in this situation, and it feels like the supportive connection that you have has now become kind of a loss, because they're sitting underneath each other in some ways. So I do feel like whatever you've gained in that supportive connection is now, they're kind of going away. Okay, so but you have to travel over here, but now it's time to get traveling. Maybe that's where they went. It's like they traveled away from the situation. So where you felt this great connection, it feels like, they got you to where you need to be. You learned what you needed, but now they're gone. It's kind of like we built a spider web together, and then the spider went away. Okay, and left me all by myself. And that's really what it feels like. It almost feels like they were there for the collaboration as long as you needed them there, and then it's all over. Now you're kind of stuck alone doing this by yourself. But the increase that you have is good, though. So it's kind of a win or lose. you gained a lot, but then you ended up losing something. So let's see what's going on over here, Sag. With the beginnings and the dark thoughts about the 8th house. Yep, because there's decisions that need to be made using not only your analytical thinking, but it's also saying that you're going to use that mental mind, that analytical thinking that we were talking about before. Okay, so, but you really want this balanced out, because it does feel like, because she's holding these 2 swords, my friends, that you know, and I think this is where the dark thoughts are coming from, and the not being as optimistic as you want it to be, is because you know she's holding what double-edged sword. So you know it could be a win or lose situation in its own. So you're really, really taking on decisive moves over here when you're through this challenge to really gain the wisdom. It really has to be, it feels like something that has to be really done almost with perfection, right? So you don't get cut. One side's dull, the other one's super sharp. And you know that. So yeah, it has you a little down, has you a little out about the situation. But the thing that I do like about this is that even though he has these 3 cups around him, you're really looking at that 3rd cup. And it's kind of pessimistic because you're saying, how, as I'm thinking about this, am I going to take on this challenge and really bring that cup down to me? And it's, in the beginning of the month, it's not feeling very good, right? It's not feeling very optimistic. The dark thoughts of the 4 of Wands. Well, that's very interesting because, that's the 4th house. Saturn is in the 4th house, and that's the 4th house of family, friends, right? Relationships, when we're talking about Saturn in itself. So yeah, you're talking about getting to that passion. How much passion can I really get to this if I have to go through this maze? So really trying to bring the 4 of Wands to you, really trying to bring that passion, really trying to even this situation out, my friends. And it's about evening everything out. And I think that's, with the balance of the 2 of Swords, making sure that everything is going your way this month. It's going to be, boy, is it a challenge. So, that there's things that are going on that are ill-advised, but you're really wanting to pay attention to the investments of the situation. And now it's going to be hard when you have the dark thoughts. So it's like, I have the intentions for these investments. I know that there are things that I can do to kind of rule out the red carpet for the situation, but because there's so many underlining thoughts of the situation of how I'm going to get there, and there could be bumps in the road along the way, you are feeling, right, that this is not as comfortable of a move that you would like it to be. And that's just because it feels like there's a lot of opposition. Like I said, maybe no collaboration. So now it feels like opposition and non-collaborating pieces going together. It almost feels like you feel like in the beginning of the month, you're kind of alone. No one's on your side. So with the optimism in reverse, but there's so much prosperity. It's almost like you have to change, guys. You to take the challenge. You know that there's prosperity to the situation. It's just about how we're going to harvest the situation and get to exactly what we need to really get to over here. This is kind of, one of those opportunities to, it's almost like to the point where it's like it has stagnation. That's really what it feels like. Where I'm trying to get to, this, what I said, gravy train, has a little stagnation. And so you're going to have to kind of re-emerge with new ideas, really feeling, all these shifts and all these things coming to you, and really start creating, a new pattern in its own way, maybe its own labyrinth, for the new beginning, because it will start coming together. And you could be feeling a little extra sensitive right now with the Empress right now. There's those intense emotions, but like I said, it feels like no matter what, you're pushing. So even if you feel like it's not going exactly the way you want, you're not learning exactly what you want in the beginning of the month, you are not giving up at all. The great achievements in the middle of the month is something that you now can see. It's now coming in. as not just a thought and not just intuition, but it's actually coming into reality. Your secrets, and you might be holding more secrets to the situation that you don't want to give out just yet, because you have this new supportive connection, but maybe you have things that you're doing that you don't want to express to someone else at this time. Kind of keeping them to myself. I'm not releasing them just yet. And it's because it feels like it's vulnerabilities. Absolutely. So it's kind of like, I don't want any fighting or anybody to know my stuff. I don't want anybody taking my swords away. I'm holding tight to what I want. This is my power. And it does feel like there's a little vulnerability going on at this time. And you might even want to express the unbalanced dynamics within the situation. Because maybe this new supportive connection is like, so what are you doing? And you're saying, because they're impatient with you. Yeah, because there's some kind of impatience. But you want some kind of healthier pattern to move forward first with a new supportive connection before you just give away all the things you just learned, right? Because look, you're not feeling completely balanced right now anyways. Not just yet, but they are moving towards you. They are moving towards you, Sag, and you definitely could be dealing with a Cancer. I have a lot of Cancer up here, and this could be the person that you've been waiting for to begin with. So as you're moving forward, you're having more of an introspective idea going on over here. Yeah. But you just don't want them to know all your power ideas, all of your, you just don't want them to know exactly what you've been thinking of. Collaboration means you give me what you have, and then I will give you what I have. You give me ideas so that we can commit to working through the issues together, and then you will help me. But there's just this feeling though, like if you just give everything away, then it doesn't feel like they're really doing much work. So you're kind of holding back a little bit in the mid-month. Yeah, absolutely. So honoring the path for the new world. So you're saying, okay, now that they want to give all this collaboration and they actually want to help out within the situation, you start to see the magic. But I love how the magic card is coming out kind of sideways, my friends, because it's saying, I am manifesting. I do see the magic and I am honoring the path, but I'm still in kind of a waiting zone to watch it 100% come together the way the collaborating person is saying, okay, it's going to come together this way. So the good thing about the situation is now you're kind of ridding yourself of all the stagnant energy that you've been holding back on. And this is probably, at the end of the mid-month, probably about the 16th or 17th or so, right? You're saying now I can kind of see this going, and it's becoming a little more easy as the wheel over here, or I'm sorry, not the wheel, the world is moving. Because now you feel like you're moving into a new energy, into a new chapter, and becoming a little more optimistic. Absolutely, with the Two of Cups. So there's definitely a more passionate collaboration between you. I'm going to call your person Cancer, my friends. Okay, because now you're feeling the harmony within the situation. You're feeling like there's more unity. More unity between now what the two of you are actually seeing, what you're actually partaking in with the 8th house. Because now you're saying, now I can see the assets and the gains. Now I see the inheritance. Now I see what's going on within the 8th house to actually start really 100% watching it fall. And they do. They're going to do a great job getting you to where you need to be. Yeah, because they're going to separate you from the double-edged sword. I love that though, because now it's saying you don't need all these decisions by yourself anymore, Sag. I'm here to, actually collaborate, actually support your ideas, and now be able to actually be 100% like partnered with you in this situation. And that brings in more hope and more gains, and it's bringing in the 9 of Cups. So yeah, now it's getting you back to where you're feeling comfortable, right? Anything that, that you had examined or anything that was going on from the beginning of the month where you felt like it was just some maze going on, you can kind of brush under the rug now as you're actually seeing things really coming together for you. Wow. So with the increase over here at the end of the month, you're really going to start to see now these assets, now these gains, now these inheritances, now these things coming together. Yes, with the sun coming out, because now you feel the blessing actually coming in as a whole, and everything is rotating the way it needs to be rotating with the sun, right? And not only that, you could even say, I am the sun and I can see everything rotating around myself, right? Just take yourself and metaphorically put it that way, because that's exactly what the increase is, as you are kind of magnetically like drawing in exactly what is going on now that you have the understanding of the situation at hand, right? So that's always a good thing. We want that. So yeah, you see the happiness and the bliss and the freedom. Now here comes that freedom with the Aquarius saying now it's freedom loving, and you have the sun that's also freedom. So it gives you the freedom to actually feel like you're moving forward, honoring the path for the great achievement in the situation, and really paying attention and holding strong to this inheritance of this area as it's really coming towards you, right? So the investments of whatever you're doing are really paying off at this time, and you're actually getting the financial opportunity of the shared assets from the divorce, or however this is working, my friends. Right, but you're gonna feel like finally it all fell into my area. So, with the loss over here, we have this star upside down. Yep, with the Cancer. So it feels like the happy times that you have with the Cancer is all great, but like I said, it feels like it's kind of time for them to travel on. You know, it was kind of like they were there, they did their job, however it is, and it just feels like, you know, it's kind of a loss now, with the star card upside down. And that does not mean that you did not get your goals. You already got your goals. The hopes of what was going to happen within the situation of the loss is more like saying the Aquarius. I told you, Cancer or Aquarius, you know, however, because I got Cancer here too. However it is, it's almost like where you put all your dreams and everything together. Everything now is kind of like, it's a kind of a kiss goodbye in its own way, right? Absolutely. Yeah, because now you're kind of like the center stage that you're on. Look, you already got the blessings that you need. So it's kind of like this person here, the collaborator, right? They're done. So it's kind of like everything's kind of transforming now for them to kind of go separate ways. They don't feel like they need to be there anymore. They feel like they don't have to be the star of the show anymore. They feel like they did what they were supposed to be doing. It feels like for some of you, this might be a lawyer or some kind of tax person or something. Somebody that you hired. It could be a friend that now has to leave. Maybe they came in to help you with the situation, or a family member. It's definitely somebody that is now kind of saying their goodbyes. It's kind of like you watched the magic unfold. They helped you out with the situation, and now they're traveling on. So with the travel, Ace of Wands, that's the same card. That's the inheritance. That's the same card as the 8th house in its own way. Because that's the inheritance, the new beginning. That is the, you know, all of the things of taking action within the way that you're traveling. Not avoiding any more mistakes, starting your new life. That could have been a divorce. You're starting a new life. You won the case, however it is, but you have the justice and the justified. So if you were in court, needed any of this stuff, this is definitely for somebody also that could be definitely doing something like that as well. Everybody's story is a little bit different, but you're definitely avoiding anything with the Hermit upside down. You're saying, I'm avoiding anything that is not going to make the new beginning, because I'm traveling towards everything that is justified and the way that the magic is really kind of unfolding around me. It is kind of a shame that they have to go, but they did their job, right? Even if it was just a friend who had to come out, help you with all the situations, they have to go home, and go do what they need to do. So the loss doesn't feel like it's a huge loss. The loss could also be of an inheritance of knowing that now you're going to bring up the death of the loss. Look, if you're winning an inheritance case from a deceased loved one, you could start feeling the loss again. That will start bringing the loss up. So that could also be a huge possibility. It could also be the loss of the person that you love, because now the divorce is super finalized. So within the loss, you're going to take that how it is, because now it's just asking you to let go so that you can create and travel to a new spot for yourself, so that you keep yourself pretty aligned and balanced with the justice over here. So you're going to find this as well. You're going to find that, but your sensitivities will definitely be heightened with all these cups in Cancer. there's definitely going to be a very high sensitive and intense emotions going on for sure as you're committing through all of this knowledge and all these challenges, and maybe even some blockages that, you know, maybe you're fighting yourself through some blockages in the middle of the month. It's just really hard, right? Depending on everybody's situation. Okay, but otherwise it looks like you're going to maintain exactly what you need to maintain, Sag. It just looks like it is definitely a challenge, and because the intense emotions are so there, it is definitely going to be more challenging than normal, right? Than a normal one, than a normal situation. Okay, and that was it for you, my friends. Until next time, peace and love. Bye bye.